masturbate 1,000 times a day. I can masturbate upwards of 12 times.
It is a disturbing issue, but one that is growing. The production of millions of pornographic images of children being sexually abused.
You build that monster inside your head.
That's right.
So I can see where you're going on the pornography.
People are addicted to it. It is the modern day cigarette. People invest more into a photo on social media than they invest into real life.
So masturbation is not a natural need. Unless you can procreate with your hand, then there's no way that masturbation could be something that's naturally occurring. People do it as somewhat of a shortcut to actual sex. The actual natural need is for you to go out and meet a partner, marry them, and then mate with them. And that's how we actually procreate. So it becomes an addiction when you can't stop doing it. When you try to stop doing it and then you realize that you failed 3, 4, 5 times in the future, even though you told yourself that this was the last time that you were going to do it. The unfortunate truth is that this is happening to people at especially younger and younger ages as the time goes on because of the ease of access to pornography. Now, the true main issue that makes masturbation itself a problem is the access to pornography.
Usually people won't be diving deep into doing it by themselves unless there's something that would easily stimulate them. That's not natural. That is not restricted in most countries, and that has ease of access to millions of videos upon hours and hours and hours, every single category that they want.
The brain is a learning prediction machine. If your brain learns to be aroused by watching other people have sex, it is not necessarily going to carry over to the ability to get aroused when you're one-on-one with somebody else.
Usually it starts off as something that's very, very calm, very, very simple, and then it turns into something that's a lot more erotic and explicit and actually ends up ruining their life and their relationships because they continue to have this more and more objectified perception on women, and that's how they usually see them. Both things works for both genders, but usually I see this happening to most of the young men, especially in this day and age. So it becomes a problem when you just can't stop. And the unfortunate truth is that most people really can't.
So the harms of pornography are nearly infinite. For example, the first one is that it's extremely addictive.
Like at no point in human history have we been able to do a quick search online from the comfort of our own pocket. It's been able to look at millions and millions of hours of unrestricted access to any kinds of videos of people having sex on our phones as we want. That's entirely unnatural. Our ancestors, our grandparents, have never seen as many naked people as we have seen in our day and age within nearly 5 minutes.
Especially young kids who are consuming a lot of pornography, the brain is learning sexual arousal to other people having sex.
So you're going to program yourself into being a voyeur?
Eventually to a point where you actually have something called PIED, porn-induced erectile dysfunction, which I know somebody in real life that actually does have this, where they really just can't do the real thing anymore because they're so used to doing it to a video and watching a girl that has extremely physically exaggerated elements that are not natural or real in any sense. So the only thing that can make this person get in the mood is something that's not even real. So they're living in this fantasy land where their body's not even working properly, they probably can't even procreate, and they're going to have a horrible marriage because of their addiction and viewership of pornography.
For an example, if you start off on a basic video, you end up going into something a lot more deep as time does go on because of your dopamine receptors being numbed in your brain.
The higher the dopamine peak, the bigger the drop afterwards. And it's not that you drop to baseline, you drop below baseline.
Dr. Lawrence American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology shows us what happens to your brain when you watch porn using SPECT scanning.
This is a scan of a sex addict brain, an 18-year-old sex addict brain. And we compare that to a normal brain, and at the naked eye, we can tell this is not normal. Now, if we compare that to someone who has cocaine addiction, this is a person who has cocaine addiction.
And that's actually giving them more stimuli to go out and do it in real life because they're finding these videos easily accessible in their own phones.
Can my brain heal after I quit pornography? Yes, you can heal. The good news for addicted porn users is that the brain resets with sobriety. The reward system eventually, usually around the 1-year mark, returns to baseline. Feed your brain with the right images and healthy habits. And of course, by staying away completely from watching pornography.
During addiction, the number of brain receptors decrease because of exposure to excessive amounts of dopamine. This causes people to take less pleasure than ordinary people. Those who quit masturbating experience an increase in their dopamine receptors to their natural state after a short period. They start to enjoy their life and activities like traveling, chatting with their friends, going out like everybody else.